Lesson today. Mm. Oh, you're here. Okay. All right. So now we talk about Zen. Mm, let's see here. Can you see it too small?
It's too small for me.
There's this year they make preparation tomorrow.
Yeah, I
So we
see
may
that.
skip tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they may come to make preparation.
Okay.
Mm. And Dr. Michael will come back next Saturday too.
Okay.
Mm. All right. That's okay with you?
Yeah, that looks good.
Good. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Zen Buddhism is characterized by devotion to the practice of meditation and a rather irreverent, often unpredictable teaching style. Although it has its roots in Indian Buddhism and first reached East Asia via China, Zen is best known in the West as a distinctly Japanese form of Buddhism. The name Zen is a Japanese transliteration of the word Chan. This is an abbreviation of Chana, which is in turn a transliteration of Sanskrit jnana, meaning meditation, reflecting both the Indian Buddhist emphasis on meditation and Chinese Taoist concepts such as the importance of intuition and the inability of words to convey profound truths. Buddhism has been, or Zen has been highly influential within all those Buddhist countries directly affected by Chinese culture, including Taiwan, Korea, Vietnam, and of course, Japan. Um, so it's like introducing Zen Buddhism and talking about like the path to which it came into cultural knowledge. Like we call it Zen, but before that it was in China, it was called Chan, and before that it was like Jnana, which is like a type of meditation actually, because like in the old Buddhist languages in India, they have like bhavana is like when you're trying to cultivate like a meditation practice, and there's yana, which is like when you're like fully absorbed, like in a like out of your normal mind in a fully absorbed state. And so it's like comes from that to from yana to chan to zen, and it's talking about how, of course, yeah, it started in India, and then in China it kind of took on some like unique Chinese qualities, I suppose, and from there, a lot of how in the West we are aware of it is from the Japanese version of Zen. That was what kind of spread to the West most.
Mm. You know the difference between Zen and Buddhist meditation?
Um, so from my understanding, Zazen, right? Zazen. I think they just focus on emptiness, but I take care of that other Zen center, and they sit in really strict posture in like a pretty plain room facing a wall. So a lot of their practice is, I think it's like posture based, like uh, understanding Dharma through posture. One thing I've heard, I don't know, I've not practiced it. And then, yeah, I think Zazen focuses on emptiness.
Mm. You know the difference?
Yeah, kind of like Kirsten said, they talk a lot about like what's like translated in English as emptiness, but also it's like it just kind of tries to break you out of your normal mind. Like a lot of the Zen teaching methods are try to like break you out of like your normal state of mind. Like they have like the koans, which are kind of just like mental puzzles to kind of break your normal state of mind, I feel like, and all kinds of other Zen practices to kind of just like take you into another mindset. And I mean, there's a lot more I could say about it. It's like the basics. I mean, I guess like it came to China from Bodhidharma. Um, and he like just sat in a cave facing the wall for like years.
I have a silly question kind of come up during walking meditation. Bodhidharma had hooded eyes before he cut them off.
I don't know.
It's a legend. A legend. So the scholar, they're not sure whether it's true or not. So basically, it's a legend around his story.
And so all the depictions you see of him, he has these like great big huge eyes, but they didn't do that. Is he East Asian looking or is he
No.
more Indian looking?
They always describe him as being in like the Chinese text, they always describe him as being from the West, which to China is like India or
India,
somewhere near
okay.
India.
So
yeah.
probably not.
Yeah, and Stephen,
He probably had like
yeah.
round eyes compared to them
Yeah.
because like Indian people.
And Stephen, so
Not
you
very,
understand the difference between Zen and Buddhist meditation, or they the same?
No, I'm not too familiar with Zen itself, so I wouldn't be able to explain to you. There are some similarity from based on the brief knowledge of what I've been hearing, but I don't believe they're completely the same. Isn't Zen more of kind of help apply towards like your daily life, while Buddhist meditation is more of trying to direct you to um, more of, you know, how all sentient being is all kind of like related to each other. So trying to get away from the I. So Mofa, I think that's in a general sense of my understanding.
They do have the Amitabha Buddha and not Shakyamuni Buddha in there.
Yeah, Rubaya, you understand the difference? No.
For me, I always thought the main difference, I haven't looked too into it, but I thought the main difference was they emphasize a lot of meditation. Like I think for them, meditation is probably like the priority in the way to like, I don't know, achieve like ceasing suffering or whatnot. I think they do more meditation than Buddhism does, even though you do meditation in Buddhism. But
So mainly, when we talk about the conservative way, Buddhist meditation, or what do you call it, fundamental teaching of Buddhist meditation based on two practices. The first one is vipassana, insight meditation. Second one is the samatha, it's concentration. So that is fundamental teaching of Buddhist meditation. That's two.
Single pointed concentration and then Vipassana, which
Yes,
is
mindfulness.
the coming and going.
The mindfulness, that too.
Yeah.
Right, so remember that. That's purely Buddhist meditation. Now, when they come to Zen, yes, they apply some, but they have unique characteristics in the way that they split down many branches first. Second one is that Bodhidharma, when he spread meditation or Buddhist meditation from India to China at that time, there's so many scholar monks. They can talk, they can learn, not much practicing. So that's why he promotes Zen tradition and meditation without rely upon sutra in a way to counteract of learning attaching to the books of the sutra. But of course, it's later on before he passed away, according to legend, he has four volume of a higher books as the seal to his close disciple. So from him, so it's go down to, according to Chinese hierarchy mm, explanation. So from him go down to the Sid Patriarch, Sid lines, and from Sid Patriarch, right? You heard about the platform sutra, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from
Flower
him,
form.
they split out 5 house of Zen. From 5 house, it split out so many, but now the 2 main one still remain in modern age, that the Rinchi or Rinzai in Japanese one, or Kaodong, or Rinchi and Rinzai and Soto.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, that
Soto.
makes sense.
Yeah, that's what. So Rinzai Linchi follow what they call the sun enlightenment, to recognize your mind is the pure Buddha. You don't need to sit. You recognize your mind is the Buddha. Your mind is Buddha, and that's all. The only thing you need to do is to recognize that. But for the Soto or the Kaojong said no, you need to sit to cool down your mind.
And
And
that's
that big
not like
difference.
easy that's not like easy sitting
And
either.
from 5 house, they split out as many different techniques in Zen tradition, like Kong An, right, public case and so forth, so that they can hold that public case or the question in their mind most of the time until they recognize it, like Newton, right, when he think about the law of gravitation, right? So when he sat down on the apple tree, boom, he recognized that way because he was thinking about that law. But suddenly, when the apple dropped on his head, he recognized that law right away. So the Zen teaching,
The spontaneous. Spontaneous enlightenment. There is another word for it.
You follow, and Stephen, you follow the different now?
I'm not really good.
Yes, I,
Recognize us
I'm
now?
building up.
Yeah.
yeah, slightly now.
So please, so when you talk about the basic fundamental of Buddhist meditation is that you need to recognize 2 of them, Vipassana and Samatha.
Wasn't Mahakashapa like the original lineage master of Zen, like before Bodhidharma in a
Actually,
way?
here, let
It's
this,
like the
this
Flower
here.
Sutra.
In India,
Uh-huh.
in the past, they didn't care much about the historical fact.
Uh-huh.
They didn't write out up to the modern age, even their history. But in China, when Buddhism spread to China, so they want to put in order. That's why they put him, Mahakashapa, as a patriarch of the Zen tradition, and 28 of them. But in India, actually, there's no real lineage like that, because they didn't care much about the historical fact. Only the 19th, 18th, 19th century, when the British occupy India, they start to write on Indian chronicles, history. Makes sense? Not talking about the religion. That's why when we talk about the exact location of Buddhist around Buddhist tradition around India, they based upon Xuan Chan chronicle record. You know Xuan Chan, right? Yeah. So at the past, they didn't care much about that. So when Buddhism spread to China, they put that kind of chronicle order. And because China, they follow Confucian idea, right, and principle. That's why they need to put that chronicle. They have the patriarch, they have the disciple, have a master, and so forth and so forth. But in India, that's not the case.
It's more organized.
It's more organized.
Yeah.
And that's why many scholars wrote about those type of articles, how they postulate the Zen patriarch in India that transmit to China, and especially even the Sid patriarch, right? Even he didn't recognize himself as the Sid patriarch, but his student, after he passed away, his student advocate that, so he became the Sid patriarch.
Hi, I wanted to ask you something. This reminds me of, I heard, like we were talking about like the branches of Buddhism that like, just spend a lot of time reading the sutras, and we talked about the Pure Land, and now we're talking about Zen. When I was listening to the biography of the Empty Cloud Master Su Yun, it said that because he went all around helping restore all these like different monasteries and temples that had like, started falling apart, he got declared like the master of all three, like the Pure Land and the Zen and the Sutra.
No, actually the Zen tradition, not the Pure Land.
Oh,
No, yeah, the Zen tradition. So he was recognized by the old master in the five house.
the bearded fellow on the
Of
shrine up
Petra,
there.
Okay.
not in the Pure Land, in the Zen tradition.
Oh,
So if you remember, I told you about the five house that from
Oh.
the Sid patriarch is split out to the five house.
oh,
So because some lineage like Wei Yan and so forth have been broken so many centuries, so someone promote him as the patriarch of these five houses. Make sense? And so and of course he did some research and get some kind of approval from the high,
So he's like a consolidation.
from high master over there,
Yeah.
and he passed the Wei Yan lineage to our master,
hmm.
and he passed all the lineage to different master. Make sense? You follow and Stephen and Brian, you follow that well.
A little bit.
What's that? Little bit.
So,
Sorry, really complicated, but later on you can know. All right, let's move on then. Yeah, and Stephen,
Yes, Makote.
yeah, please. This one here.
Unlike the older Buddhist schools, which early Zen practitioners regarded as stale and overly scholastic, Zen's authority stems not from scriptures, but from its lineage of enlightened masters. Zen traditionally defines itself through four principles: transmission outside the orthodox, Buddhist teachings through its lineages, a belief that truth is not dependent upon established doctrine, and a belief in the value of experience over the value of scripture, a direct pointing to the mind, and an emphasis on examining one's original nature and the attainment of enlightenment. Proponents of Zen call it the Buddhism of enlightenment, claiming that it is the one school that can bring an individual to experience the fully awakened mind of a Buddha. Here, I think it's just trying to explain how the original, how Zen, the teachings of Zen in general, I guess, from their schools, and then, of course, compare that to Buddhist teachings. I can't quite understand it yet, the whole meaning of it, but yeah, they're just explaining how they follow by the four principles, how kind of like going outside the box, I guess, in a sense, where it's a transmission outside the orthodox, compared to how Buddhist teaching is based on most of the scriptures, while they just go based on, I guess, current experience of what they learned so far. That's just my general interpretation of it for now. Mofate.
Kristen, you follow. You follow my see
Well,
that?
yeah, I do. I mean, I understand, like, I feel like a lot of the Mahayana traditions, or a lot of the Chinese canon gets into some like really heavy esoteric So you can just spend, I could see where you could just spend a lot of, like, just tons of time reading and talking about it and whatever, and not actually practicing.
So you see that him, they start from Bodhidharma, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't based on the scripture, based on the lineage of enlightened master,
Yeah.
based on the practical approach, not the philosophical aspect. That's why there's many Zen story. Remember so many funny Zen stories. I love that. Like so one day a master and the student walk on the field, right? So the student saw a family of birds flying up there. So the student point the finger to the sky and say, Master, birds up there. So what happened then? The master turned around and used his hand to pull the nose of the student strongly. And of course, the student yelled and cried because it's just too painful. So what happened then when both of them came back to the monastery, and the student somehow he laughed one moment and he cried another moment. And so when the master gathered the assembly of monks and asked him, what happened to you? Suddenly you cry. Another time you laugh. What happened in? You understand why? Why he cried and he laughed after that, and vice versa. You know why?
No,
You know?
not sure.
Because it's the same thing.
Or he bipolar.
Yeah, no, probably it's, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of things with Zen is your ability to hold two separate ideas as one.
Rubaya, you follow the story? You don't know?
Not really. Then it's just Buddhism is so. I think it's just a little bit confusing to me, just because I haven't done much research on it just yet.
The reason why we cry, yeah, of course, the master pulled the nose. His nose is so painful. That's when he cried. But the reason why he laughed because he recognized the principle that the life's here through the nose, not up there. You need the master pull the nose to remind him that you need to watch here, focus on your breath, focus here, inside your mind, inside here, not out there. That's why he recognized. That's why he laughed. He's not bipolar.
Yeah.
You understand now? Right. And Stephen, you follow?
Yes. Okay.
Most of the time, if you read their story, most of the time they would not talk much about the Buddhist scripture. They talk about direct experience, direct interaction.
There's a famous Buddhist teacher that taught some well-known American Buddhist teacher. His name. But anyways, one of his famous things was people would come to him with all these like really deep insights, and he would say, don't know.
Don't know.
Don't know. Don't know. Keep your don't know mind. Don't know.
Yeah. Or Lin Chi is one of the famous teacher, and also he developed that Lin Chi lineage. Whenever he saw any student, he just shout or hit them.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I've heard of a lot of them like smacking people across the back.
Yeah.
In meditation.
But yeah, he didn't do it. He didn't do for fun. He didn't do because of anger. He just tried to do this to wake him up. That's all. It's like when we half sleepy and half wake up. So in morning, someone yell, "Hey, wake up!" So at that time we wake up.
Yeah.
And that's the way. Yeah. And you can see watch on the YouTube. You see the monk hold the stick and walking around. You see that? You seen that before? And Steven, you see that before? No?
No, I haven't.
You can find out next time. You may not know, right, Rubaya? So in the assembly, so the monks sit around, right? So on the bench, right? In the Buddha hall, and so one monk just walk around with a stick, and whoever falls asleep, he hit on the shoulder. At my master's temple in California, we follow that tradition too. But just tap it, not hit too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weight.
That, just as far as the way I was taught meditation, one of the things I learned really early on was about sloth and torpor. And,
What's that?
sloth and torpor.
Okay.
So that was one of the first things instilled in me, was how to keep my mind awake and alert, to
Mhm.
not let my mind fade off into this like laziness, which usually for a lot of people also causes them. And I mean, I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but I've spent many hours meditating and I've not dozed off.
You know, in the Theravada tradition, when they talk about vipassana, we based upon, you know, the book,
Yeah,
the four
foundations.
foundation of mindfulness, remember? The body, the feeling, the mind, and the phenomena. So they have to study the book, right? That sutra and a different sutra too.
Yeah.
So that they have that type of guideline or the map to follow. In generation,
Yeah.
most time they would not based on anything. But that's why sometimes later on people could not know how do they practice.
That one was really helpful because I
Yeah.
did study the Mahasatipatthana Sutta
Mhm.
quite a bit. And so I think in the long run, for me, that was really helpful. I know we don't do that in this tradition, but
Later on we can study.
but for me, it was a very helpful foundation for my
Yeah.
meditation practice.
Yeah. And Stephen, you don't know about that sutra yet, right?
No,
Foundation of mindfulness. Later on we can study. Rubaya, you don't know, right? Yeah, next semester, if you take my class, right, at UPH, yeah, that's the foundation for you to learn more. Then, yes, we have a lot of things to learn. Yeah. All right, so let's move on then. Go ahead, Rubaya. You can read next one, please.
Yeah. It is said that Zen originated with the Buddhist disciple Kashyapa, also known as Maya Kashyapa. During one of his sermons, the Buddha answered a question by merely holding up a flower and smiling. Of all in attendance, only Kashyapa understood. He immediately attained complete enlightenment. This story provides the basis for the Zen belief that profound truth can be transmitted from mind to mind without the meditation of language. Kashyapa is considered the first of 28 Indian patriarchs in the lineage, and I can't see the rest.
Yes, Rubaya. Yeah.
Okay. From this, it's just telling a story about one of Buddha's disciples and how when he was preaching, as you could say, Buddha was in attendance and gave him a flower, which has some sort of obvious meaning to it that only the disciple could understand. That's the story that I got from that. And that how he knew that he attained enlightenment when he was handed the flower.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Can you see that? This is this image of Buddha, right? When he just hold the lotus flower and Mahakashapa he smile.
Mhm.
That's friend. And Stephen, what do you think? That's
so
friend.
I get,
So the Buddha hold the flower and
Mhm.
assembly, no one else know what's going on except one monk, he smile. You know why?
No, I don't.
Well, I mean,
Still learning.
there is a lot of teachings involving the lotus, particularly in the Zen traditions, or I think that well, really, I guess in all of them, but the lotus represents enlightenment, but it has to go through all this like mud and muck but it's, you still have to have all the conditions of the sun and the rain, so you've got the interdependence in that. You have the symbolism of enlightenment as you come through it, and then also the meditation or the understanding of impermanence, because it comes, it fades away, and it dies, and it goes back into this whole cycle.
Yeah. Sam, you understand why? Why he smile?
I understand. And that's why I can't put it into words either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stephen, you understand
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I think after Kirsten explained about the lotus there, I think it makes sense now because I think just from anything out, just for like sentient beings, you grow just like a lotus, you grow, and then there's a lot of conditions that we consider good and bad, but the outcome, as long as we truly understand of what pure happiness is, then the outcome will always be happiness as long as you work at it, and that's what the lotus is. I mean, all the condition, it could be good, it could be bad, but look at how beautiful it is. So that's pure happiness. So
Rubaya, you got the point now? You understand?
Yeah. I just going back to the story, I just really like that story. I think
Go
it
be-
says so much.
go beyond that. So let's say while you're teaching those of them, right? Here, right?
Mhm.
So let's say Jennifer, she know your signal, right?
Mhm.
When she need to tutor the little one, you just wave your hand and she know.
Mhm.
No one else. You understand now?
Yeah. Or yeah, sometimes it's better to teach without words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
When so other people know some of your personality, some of your approaches, right?
Mhm.
So one of the signal they recognize us.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like when sometimes when some of the boys are being really rowdy, if I just try to get them to stop by being like, stop, 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 they don't listen. But sometimes if I just give them a look and get
Have you
quiet.
tried, this is one of my tricks. Look at the wall, look at the other wall, look at the ceiling, look at my face.
Yeah.
And then they all get real quiet.
Yeah. Anyway, you understand now? So
Yeah.
because like you say, right, when the Buddha hold the flower, right? That represent this
I made this
purity and
up.
so forth. And also, and Stephen, right? Let's say when you drive your car, when you go out with your wife and daughter, right? Let's say
Mhm.
if you see them from far distance and you could not talk to them much, you just make a signal. They know what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Right. Rubaya, any sense now? Rubaya?
Yeah.
If someone love you, someone care for you, someone recognize your personality and so forth, right? And so they can make signal for you and you can make signal for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and my friends just talk about it all the time.
Yeah. So,
Except Sabrina is still learning.
so here the Buddha hold the lotus flower again, represent the pure mind. That's why Marcus by his smile, he recognized that.
Mhm.
Of course, only in Zen tradition, there's no conversation in the Buddhist scripture at all, whether Mahayana or tradition, whether in Sanskrit or Pali. But that's reasonable. We can say the reasonable uh, postulation of the Zen tradition, because of course Maharishi he was an arhat, and the disciple that was the leader of the first Buddhist council. So that's why they postulate Maharishi as the first patron of Zen tradition. It makes sense now, right? So in Zen tradition, that's why when I was so young, even before I became Buddhist monk, I love Zen story
Yeah.
because it's just the story and it's so lively. is so active and like I just told you the story, right? If you don't understand the deeper meaning of Zen, then you may think that they're crazy.
Mhm.
So that like that monk, he has bipolar. One moment he laugh, another moment he cry. No, that's not the case. Right?
I animated all these little Buddha kitties. It's like meditating, they're all like, but I animated all of them and, what I put was like not, because it's pretty short, but about the lotus, the symbology of the lotus in Buddhism, why it's important, but like, of course, most of my fan base, they're into cats, so that's why I turned them into cats.
Mhm.
But that, I made a little video, of why that
Mhm.
contemplating the lotus and what that
Mm.
symbol.
You heard the story, a Zen master burned the Buddha statue. Remember that story?
Yeah, you told that one before.
Yeah, you understand that story?
A Zen master burning a Buddha statue? No, I don't know that story, but I could,
Yeah.
I could probably.
Remember that clearly?
I remember, yeah, you told it, I guess like 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of show the students that the statue is not the Buddha and that they shouldn't be too attached to the statue, right?
Mm-hmm. So let me tell you the story. It is in China it's pretty cold, especially in winter, like here. So, but they have the tradition that any monks and the guest monk can stop by and stay overnight at any temple. That's you can say that the hidden rules, that the common acceptance among Buddhist communities. I mean that Buddhist monks communities. So one day, one night, so one monk somehow he went around and too cold, so he asked for shelter at one temple. And yes, the abbot, the head monk, allowed him to stay. And at night, because in the past they didn't have the heater like that is, so they used the wood. Most of the time they use the wood to warm him up, to burn and warm up. So when he stayed in his room, it's so cold, and he looked around and he saw the tree Amitabha Buddha statue and the other two Bodhisattva statue, the wooden one on the altars. So too cold for him. Happened, then he took them down and burned. And in the morning, so the abbot came to the Buddha hall and didn't see that, but he saw some demanding of that Buddha statue. And he yelled to the guest monk, "How could you dare to burn my Buddha?" So the guest monk say, "Well, I burned the Buddha because I want to find the Buddha relics." So the monk said, "This is just wooden Buddha. It's just wood. How could you get the Buddha relic?" So the guest monk said, "If that's the case, I want to burn more." You understand now? Right. So at that moment, the abbot have some kind of awakening right away. And of course we hear that. So of course for the Buddhist people, there's no way for them to burn the wooden statue. But somehow this type of enlightened monk, he used one experiment to help the abbot in the way that Dhammatarja his Buddha statue. Yeah, because when he asked, "How could you burn my Buddha statue?" So he said, "Oh, well, I burned so that they can get Buddha relic then. So how could you get the relic from a wooden statue? If that's the case, I burn more."
Yeah.
That's the funniest way to teach people in the extreme way. Yeah, to let go of attachment. Of course, for the Buddhists, we cannot do that.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of story like that. That's
not,
why
not a normal situation.
no way. There's no way we can do that. Yeah, that's why I love the Zen story. All right. You follow Rubaya?
Yes.
Ask your brother to burn Buddha statue, okay? Unless you have some kind of enlightenment, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let him know.
What story I want to tell a lot of Zen story. I actually every Friday evening at that I teach the youth, like the high school and the college student to all this type of Zen story. So one story that why the master and the student were sailing on the small boat. So the student keep asking, Master, please teach me what's the meaning of Buddhism, or how could I live with my pure nature and so forth. And guess what? What the master said did? He could push him down to the river. And when the student fall down to the river, of course they try to swim back and hold on the boat. And the masters use, this what they call the stick, right? What do you call
Like an oar,
Is that right?
like
When
an
you,
oar. that
there's the
you-
oar arm to hit the student. And whenever the student open his mouth, he hits more. And at that time, he recognized the student has some kind of awakening. This is a stream.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, so and Stephen, you follow?
Yes, no, okay.
Be surprised when you read the Zen story. Don't be surprised. So you may think the Zen master crazy. No, then they're not crazy. They know what they're doing, but they just have the student to recognize the pure nature. That's all.
there's a Zen story I really like that I made the kids watch one day in the Buddha Hall. Where there's a guy who goes to meet like a Zen master, and but the guy's had like a bad day, and whenever he enters the master's like temple, he like throws his shoes down and like slams the door, and the master is like, you need to go apologize to your shoes and to the door. And the guy was like, I've heard that Zen guys are weird, but you want me to apologize to shoes and a door? And the guy was like, well, you got angry at them, so you can also be nice to
There
them.
you go.
I like that story.
Mhm. That's good to teach the student.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, this is plenty of story that we can learn from. All right, let's see here. We go back here. Yeah, Miss Kristen, please. Kashiba.
Uh,
Yeah.
Shop, Shapia
Yeah.
is considered the first of 28 Indian patriarchs in the lineage. The last Bodhidharma who traveled to southern China 520 CE and became the first Chinese patriarch of China. By the late 7th century, there were monasteries practicing Zen in various parts of China. The most important was the Eastern Mountain School in Hubei province, founded by the fifth patriarch Hongren after his death. Huining, a peasant who had become enlightened upon hearing a phrase from the Diamond Sutra, was chosen as a successor of Zhenzu, a senior monk who stressed purification of the mind through long-continued practices. These differences in approach led to the sudden enlightenment stance of the Southern School and gradual enlightenment of the Northern School. Although the Southern School's view prevailed, the tension between the two standpoints remained. By the 9th century, there were 5 houses of Zen, all belonging to Huining's lineage, and Zen continued to expand with imperial support during the Song Dynasty.
Mm.
So one of the big schools was founded by the 5th patriarch, and then, so I guess that was like we were talking about the 5 different schools. And then, so one of the schools focused on the sudden enlightenment, and the other school believed in more of a gradual enlightenment, which I guess was one of the that's one of the main splits between the north and the southern traditions.
That's different. Mahayana and Theravada, right? It's
Yeah.
different. But in Zen tradition, yeah, it can mention that the northern, the southern.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's different.
You know the story how Bodhidharma met with a emperor? You know about the story?
I've heard that he met with an emperor and tried to talk to the emperor, and the emperor didn't understand him, so that's why he went and meditated in a cave by himself for like 7 years or something.
You know what? How was the conversation?
I don't remember the details.
Remember? Huh?
I just relate to that though, because I'm like, I can imagine talking to a king would be kind of pointless, and then you'd want to go be alone for a while.
Yeah, let me share with you this portion, and you can see that.
I still have cave in the Himalayas as an option in my mind.
Yeah, I'm always thinking.
Here,
about
here,
going to
this is the
cave.
portion here. You can read the subtitle there, right? And of course, this is Chinese in Chinese, but let's see here. You can read the subtitle. Can you read?
Your Honor sticks to your one view.
Oh, okay. Here, yeah. Sorry. Let's go back to a little bit here, and you can see how it's about. Okay, start from here.
I build many temples, write sutras, and pray to the Buddha. And support many monks and nuns. What achievement do I have? You have nothing. Nothing at all? Your Honor sticks to your one view and doesn't know that building temples, almsgiving, and supporting Buddhists are nothing but praying for your own good. But what's the real achievement? You must purity your thoughts and empty your mind, sticking not to the thought of merit of being greedy, arrogant, hate, and elusive. Might cover all your wisdom. When you pay, you must not consider the reward. Almsgiving, building bridges and roads is good, but it's quite different with achievement. Buddhists like Emperor Liang be confused with desire. So what about the ordinary people? So we must adjust our thinking and behavior to make our mind. May you tell us the second master's story.
Okay, good. So you understand now? You understand why they postulate the teaching outside of the scripture?
Yeah.
And you know the conversation now between the Bodhidharma and that emperor.
Yeah.
In the past, in front of the emperor, if you say that, you may lose your head.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So why is that? And even you know why the emperor asked the question. I built a temple. I print the sutra. I support so many monks and so forth and so forth. What kind of achievement, what kind of merit do I have? So
Nothing.
Bodhidharma say nothing. Is that true?
Greed is the final.
Yes, I do believe that, because I guess the king was asking more of recognition when you're doing things. You don't have to say, "Oh, I'm Almighty King. I gave all this wealth, all this thing here." But that's not the true point of enlightenment. It's just doing it because you like to give, not to receive recognition. So
That's good, huh? Rubaya, you understand that?
Yeah, everything he said. I feel like it defeats the purpose if you go if your intentions aren't great, then it's already skewed. But also, like, I don't know, people do that a lot now. I see people like post everything they do, and it's kind of just like defeats the purpose of it. I get once in a while, but like, what are you doing this for?
I think it's the attainment of status, and that is
Status?
all
Yeah.
bragging rights.
The first big spiritual tests you get when you like really start to awaken is this like spiritual ego.
Mhm.
Also like, oh, well, I'm actually better because I'm spiritual or more this or more that. And that's like the first big test of your awakening is, can you let the ego
Mhm. So Sam, let's say if you were Bodhidharma, so would you dare to say that in front of the emperor? And if you know you may lose your head if you say against his will, against his wish.
Well, I guess Bodhidharma wasn't afraid to say it because where he was like so enlightened, he didn't care about if he lived or died. So,
In your case,
yeah,
would you dare?
if I was in his position, I'd like to say yes, but maybe no. I don't know. It would depend on how brave I felt that day.
Mm, yeah. How is your courage?
mine.
Would you say outright, or would you hesitate to think before?
I don't know. I'm a pretty like courageous like I've like taken on some big fears in life. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I would probably be the person that got their head cut, for sure. That would be me.
So Steven, let's say not talk about the loss in the head, but let's say if you see something feel wrong in your company, right? And it's really serious. This may affect to the whole um, tradition environment of your company. Would you dare to bring that matter to your CEO? And if it's risky, if they accept that, that's great for you. If not, they may kick you out. You may lose your job.
In the past, I would be scared, but nowadays, depending how serious it is, in regards to the wrongness, just like Kirsten say, I don't do it just for provoking, um, how should I say, to make everyone angry or anything, but just more of just your faith and belief. So I will probably will speak to someone about that. So, but in the past, maybe not, but now, based on my brief understanding, I would say yes, I will bring that up. So
And even you may lose your job.
yes, because I do feel that, with whatever we currently have, I can be confident I can make do with what I have. So if I have a lot, I spend a lot. If I don't need it. So as long as I have my health and happiness and good health, everything else, that's the most important thing. And obviously learning more. So more of it.
Rubaya, you have that courage to speak the truth, even
When it comes to this matter, since in my opinion, I think even though his intention is not pure, people are still gaining good from it. So I would probably mind my own and let him continue because it's not harming anyone. So I don't know what I would gain from that. But if it's like if we're talking about something different, like politics, something like that, then of course. But with this, if people aren't being harmed in a bad way, then I wouldn't interfere.
Just, I wanna say from someone that's taken precepts. And I try to take them very seriously. Lying or not speaking the truth, speaking the truth that to cause confrontation. But you always have to understand the long-term consequences of what you're speaking out, or what you're, I mean, sometimes even leaving out certain things is also breaking that precept by misleading someone from the truth.
I think if I was in the Bodhidharma king situation, I might try to answer a question with a question if I could get away with it. Like if he was like, how much merit did I get for building these temples? I'd be like, well, how much do you think you got?
You ask a student, right? How about if it relate to the job? Is
Yeah.
the matter of having a job, keeping a job, or losing the job? You dare to speak out?
It depends on if it was important or not. If it
Yeah,
was
let's
like-
say it's important.
if
Would you
something
dare?
important, then yeah, I would if it was something important.
But also, I feel like if there's an emperor that's a Buddhist that's invested in creating good merit and whatever, you're probably also fairly safe from being killed.
I guess that's why he didn't get killed when he just left. Yeah.
So I also feel like the context, you would have to kind of think of the context too, that maybe that is how a lot of. And also, I think somebody that would be that highly cultivated would also know that, like, if your time is up, your time is up. Like, so really, I don't know. I just feel like.
So again, not easy
Yeah.
for normal people, right? Especially when we talk with authorities, right? The
Mm.
one who has the power. They, if they're angry, they may give us hard times, right? Even we speak out for the truth, right? Every time, everywhere, but in the past, now, and future. So unless we have strong courage, unless we don't have an attachment to body, we may not care
Yeah,
much.
I mean, if you're highly cultivated and you're not attached to your body and you like understand Dharma really well, like I don't even feel like, I feel like that would be a more of a decision of like doing what's asked of this lifetime, because really those people that are highly cultivated are not just thinking about this lifetime, but many lifetimes to come. So big deal, like this guy saying.
Yeah. So before we end, let me tell you the story that relate to this conversation. So one of the you can say the Indian Zen patriarch. Somehow he went to the court to talk with the king in India, the emperor in India. So because the king follow Hinduism, so he didn't care much, but he tried to harm, or he tried to stop the teaching of this Zen master. So this king, he asked the Zen master, Indian Zen master, say, you know, in Buddhism, they say that everything is empty, even your body is empty, even your body is unreal. Why don't you give me your head? So the master said, well, if you need the head, go ahead and take it. Yes, the king chop up the Zen master head, and according to the legend, within 7 days he died too. So that's the courage there. The Zen master, he understand his karma and accept that. He recognize, yeah, just the impermanence, the body is impermanent. He can accept that. But not for common people.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you have to be really
Strong.
solid. You have to
Strong.
be really,
Have
really
wisdom.
highly cultivated,
Mhm.
certain, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you follow Rubaya, follow that story? Those
Yeah.
friends,
The stories, I like the stories today.
right?
I like the Zen Buddhism stories
Right,
a
so
bit.
thank you. So see you next Friday then. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, fuck that. Goodbye, everyone.